Hi guys, Brandon here from Ridgeview. We've put together this video to help illustrate our wines and how to effectively communicate our wines to your customers. Let's dive in. Bloomsbury. Bloomsbury was the first wine that we ever made at Ridgeview back in 1996 and is very much our signature wine and one of the greatest introductions to what we do as an English producer. Bloomsbury is focused on 2/3 Chardonnay and 1/3 Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier. Being that it is Chardonnay driven, you can expect a very fresh, clean, high acidity profile wine, characterized by also the sort of purity and fresh fruit quality that you experience from that long growing window. When I'm talking to customers about Bloomsbury, I like to describe it as a very clean style, characterized by that purity and fruit forwardness. When I pair it with food, I like to pair it with oysters, battered fish, but it also works perfectly on its own as an aperitif. Cavendish. Cavendish is what we like to call our traditional blend amongst the Ridgeview portfolio. The blend focuses 2/3 on Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier, which adds that roundness, as well as 1/3 Chardonnay, which supports it with that clean, crisp, fresh acidity. This one is very much a clean, fruit-driven style, but also has a lot of earthiness and those kind of red berry, red Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier characteristics. It pairs really well with food and is very versatile. So you could pair this with anything from charcuterie to olives, through to duck, beetroot, anything like that, with a bit of earthiness and body. Fitzrovia Rosé. Fitzrovia Rosé is our signature rosé and is focused very much on the Chardonnay grape, accounting for about 50% of the overall blend. The other 50% being Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier. This is also a blended rosé, which means we add a small proportion of base red wine at blending to achieve the real paleness that is the colour. It's a very clean, crisp, fruit-driven style, and I like to pair it with prosciutto, fresh English strawberries, but it works perfectly well on its own on a warm summer's day. The signature range, Bloomsbury, Cavendish and Fitzrovia. Those three wines were named after a story which dates back quite some time to a guy called Christopher Merritt. Christopher Merritt was the first person to document the process of adding sugar and wine to a bottled wine, creating a fully sparkling wine in bottle. He lodged this discovery or research into the Royal Society in London in the year 1662, making him the first person to document the process of a traditional method sparkling wine. Mike, our founder, took this story, loved the story, and wanted to impart it across the range, and decided to tie in the link of the Royal Society in London with naming the range after key areas in London, such as Bloomsbury, Cavendish and Fitzrovia. Blanc de Blanc. Blanc de Blanc is our flagship wine from our limited release range. This is 100% Chardonnay from our oldest vines, and those vines being 25-year-old Chardonnay vines from our home vineyard. This is also vintage specific, and we double the time that the wine spends in the cellar to add further complexity. This stylistically is very clean, pure and precise, and pairs incredibly well with lobster, white fish, oyster, but also goes incredibly well on its own. Blanc de Noir. Blanc de Noir is our white sparkling wine from black grape varieties and is exclusively made from only Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier in the best given vintages. It's very limited release and we double the time that it spends in the cellar compared to our signature portfolio, lending itself to further complexity and richness. It's also an incredibly versatile wine when pairing with food, lending itself to pairing with game, mushroom-based dishes as well as earthier-based dishes. Rosé de Noir. Rosé de Noir is our limited release rosé made exclusively from Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier. It's a Saignée method rosé, which means the juice has spent a very short period of time in contact with the grape skins in order to extract the very delicate colour. It's also vintage specific and made in tiny quantities. It pairs incredibly well with bread-based canapes, salmon, and fresh English strawberries. We hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. If you have any follow-up questions, by all means drop us a line, and if not, we look forward to welcoming you at the vineyard incredibly soon.